some deaths happened years after the tomb was discovered. There was another major problem with the curse story. There was no verified inscription inside Tutankhamun's tomb threatening visitors with death. The idea of the curse was largely amplified by newspapers, writers, and public fascination with ancient Egypt. Sensational stories were extremely popular in the 1920s, and the combination of an ancient king, a sealed tomb, hidden treasure, and mysterious deaths was almost impossible for journalists to resist. Even Howard Carter, the man who actually opened the tomb, survived for 17 years after the discovery. He died in 1939 at the age of 64. Welcome to Xfinity Evolution, where history comes alive, and legends are reborn. Imagine opening a tomb that has been sealed for more than 3,000 years. Inside are gold, ancient treasures, mysterious symbols, and the remains of a forgotten Egyptian king. But after the tomb is opened, something strange begins to happen. People connected to the discovery start dying. One death becomes another, and soon newspapers around the world begin asking a terrifying question: did the ancient Egyptians place a curse on anyone who disturbed the dead? This is the real story behind one of history's most famous mysteries, the Mummy's Curse. In November 1922, British archaeologist Howard Carter made an extraordinary discovery in Egypt's Valley of the Kings. For years, Carter had been searching for the lost tomb of the young pharaoh Tutankhamun. When his team uncovered a staircase beneath the desert, it led to a sealed entrance. Behind it was a passage filled with incredible treasures: gold, statues, jewelry, weapons, chariots, and objects that had remained untouched for thousands of years. Finally, Carter reached the burial chamber containing the mummy of Tutankhamun. The discovery shocked the world and became one of the greatest archaeological finds ever made. But only a few months later, the story became much darker. Lord Carnarvon, the wealthy British aristocrat who had financed Carter's excavation, became seriously ill. He had suffered an infected mosquito bite, and his condition quickly became worse. He developed pneumonia and died in Cairo in April 1923. His death came so soon after the tomb was opened that newspapers immediately began connecting the two events. Soon, stories appeared claiming that Tutankhamun had placed the curse on anyone who disturbed his eternal resting place. The legend became even more frightening when other people connected to the excavation also died. Some accounts eventually claimed that as many as 22 people associated with the tomb died under unusual or mysterious circumstances. To the public, the pattern seemed impossible to ignore. A tomb had been opened after thousands of years, and now people around it were dying. But when historians examine the individual cases, the story becomes far less mysterious. Many of the supposed victims were already elderly or suffering from serious health problems. Others died from ordinary illnesses, accidents, or causes that had nothing to do with Egypt. Some deaths happened years after the tomb was discovered. There was another major problem with the curse story. There was no verified inscription inside Tutankhamun's tomb threatening visitors with death. The idea of the curse was largely amplified by newspapers, writers, and public fascination with ancient Egypt. Sensational stories were extremely popular in the 1920s, and the combination of an ancient king, a sealed tomb, hidden treasure, and mysterious deaths was almost impossible for journalists to resist. Even Howard Carter, the man who actually opened the tomb, survived for 17 years after the discovery. He died in 1939 at the age of 64. If the tomb truly carried a supernatural curse, Carter would have been one of its most obvious targets. Instead, he continued his life and archaeological work for many years. Still, there may have been real dangers inside ancient tombs. Sealed chambers can contain dust, mold, fungi, bacteria, and poor ventilation. Archaeologists working in such environments could potentially become sick. But there is no strong scientific evidence that a mysterious organism inside Tutankhamun's tomb caused the deaths traditionally associated with the curse. The story is also interesting because the ancient Egyptians really did believe that the dead needed protection. Their tombs contained religious texts, magical symbols, rituals, and objects designed to protect the deceased in the afterlife. So the idea of a protected tomb was genuine. What remains unproven is the much more dramatic claim that Tutankhamun possessed a supernatural power capable of killing people who entered his tomb. So, did the mummy's curse really kill 22 people? The evidence does not prove it. The deaths were real, but the supposed connection between them and the pharaoh appears to have been created through coincidence, sensational journalism, and decades of storytelling. A tragic death became suspicious. Another death became part of the pattern. Eventually, the pattern became a legend. And perhaps that is what makes the mummy's curse so fascinating. It is not simply a story about death. It is a story about how humans react to the unknown. We see an ancient tomb, we see unexpected events, and we search for a connection. Sometimes that connection is real. Sometimes it is coincidence. And sometimes, like the mummy's curse, a story becomes so powerful that people remember the legend long after they have forgotten the facts. Howard Carter may not have unleashed a supernatural curse when he opened Tutankhamun's tomb. But he did open a door into a world that had been hidden for thousands of years. And from that discovery came one of the greatest mysteries of the modern age, a story of ancient treasure, mysterious deaths, and a pharaoh whose supposed curse still refuses to disappear. If you want to understand how history is unfolding before our eyes, don't miss what comes next. Revisit Xfinity Evolution for deeper insights and powerful stories. Stay informed, stay curious, and join us again on Xfinity Evolution, where the world's biggest events come into focus.